Hey everybody, it's your boy Big L PhD. It is your boy Big L PhD. Thank you so much for tuning in to this particular video. Let's jump into it. Let us jump into it. I want to talk a little bit about establishing your purpose, knowing your purpose, getting on your purpose, getting on your game, getting on your grind, figuring out your purpose. There was a preacher that was around a little time ago when I was heavily into the church world. His name was Miles Monroe. I think he died about 15 years or 20 years ago or so. I think he died in a plane accident, if I'm not mistaken. I may put his image and picture up here. And he was very famous for talking about your purpose. His message, I thought, was very apropos, and his purpose was trying to get, or he used to say, was trying to get other people to get on their game, on their grind, and on their purpose. His purpose as a minister was to try to help you focus on your ministry and to establish purpose for yourself. Now, I am not the type of person that believes in establishing purpose or that you are born for a purpose. I don't think that you were born here to do something. I don't believe that. Now, if you believe that, that's fine. That's completely fine. But I think that you should establish a purpose. I think that you should establish something to do while you're here. You get 70, 80, 100 years, whatever it is that you're going to get here, sometimes lesser than that, 40, 50. And what is it that you are doing? What is it that you're going to do to establish your game, your drive, your purpose? And without a purpose, without a vision, people do perish. People do not have a sense of getting out of the bed. They don't have a sense of purpose, and they don't have a sense of urgency about fulfilling any of their goals, dreams, desires, and objectives. So I want to talk to you about establishing your purpose and what that could be, should be for you. A lot of the videos that I put out about my own personal situations that I've had going on. When I talked about, having difficult decisions and having difficult conversations, making difficult decisions and things along those lines, right? Those are things that I was at the time dealing with. And the reason that I was dealing with them is because after I completed my degree, I was offered a job that I really, thought was really good. And it was a good job. It was great. The people was great. The environment was great. And if I was a 35-year-old person with, young kids, or a 30-year-old person with young kids, I could see myself working there for a long time. A great environment, great job. But at this stage of my life, and what I want to do for my own purpose, it just wasn't going to work. And those were difficult decisions that I had to make, because I'm a human. I'm fallible, just like the rest of us. And we were presented with great opportunities when people are throwing money at us. And we said to ourselves, man, this is a great opportunity. It's a great resume builder. It's great for this and great for that. But ultimately, I found it to be, as one person put it, he put it very apropos, it just became in the way. My other businesses are growing. My expert testimony business is growing, getting more clients and getting more hits and things like that. So I had to figure out what was most important for me and to me. That isn't easy, because we have been conditioned. This is very important. We have been conditioned to be robots and cogs in the system. We have been conditioned to be robots and cogs in the system. We go to school, we sit down in chairs, and we go to college, and we sit down in the same type of chairs, same type of environments, stand in a line, don't walk too fast, don't run too fast, don't think outside the box, stay inside the lines. All robotic type of behaviors that attempt to place us in a cog, to be interchangeable parts in a system. And I was a victim of that for a long time. I was a victim for my whole life, in all honesty, right? So it is essential that it became essential for me to be my own person. I retired from law enforcement after 24 years, had gone through some serious medical emergencies, situations, And the bottom line is it's time for Lawrence, Big L, to live his best life. So that is what Lawrence, aka Big L, aka Captain Hunter, is going to do. Is going to live his best life. Now, I'm in a situation where I can figure out my purpose absent the responsibilities of having to take care of other people. So if you're in a situation where you want to figure out who you are, you need to either do that before you get married, before you have children, or after. By after, I mean when your children are become adults and they're on their own. That's what I mean by after. So this idea that you should and could just wing it and just move your family from California to Las Vegas uh, to Georgia to Tennessee without job prospects and other type of things, I think it's silly. I think it lacks focus, lacks determination, and lacks purpose. And I think that I do not advise people to do those types of things. However, figuring out your purpose is a vital part of the human existence. You have to figure out why you're doing what you're doing, why you want to be who you want to be, and what you're going to do, and what it's going to take for you to get to that place in life. And until and unless you get there, you will continue to struggle and continue to be a person who is in the hamster wheel of life, in the hamster wheel um, of listening to other people. And so you really have to figure that thing out for yourself. So you really have to figure that thing out for yourself. So I hope I said something thus far that has been monumental to help you to really figure out who you are, what you want to be, and what it's going to take for you to get there. Right? You have to do some research for you to get there. You want to be a doctor, you want to be an engineer, you want to be an IT worker, you want to be whatever. What's it going to take for you to get there? What's the payoff? Right? What's the time investment analysis and math look like for you to get to where you want to be in life? So you got to figure all that out. Um, and always have emergency backup plan. I watch. There's so many videos out there, all these gurus about people. Everybody's a guru, and this one person was saying, he never saw anybody getting rich by having multiple streams of income. Find one thing to his analysis was to find one thing and really focus on that, and then if things work out, then things work out. So, and really focus on that. I don't know. I don't know if I would buy that. I think that it's good to have multiple things going on, and if one thing starts to pick up, if you got 5 things going on, and one of them really starts to pick up, cut back on 2 or 3 other ones, and really focus on that one. To that guy's point. So that's what I would say about that. But I got a few things going on, and a few adjuncting jobs and YouTube streams that I want to get going, and a few other things. And if one of them really picks up, then I'll really hone in and focus on that. So, but let me also finish this off with purpose. And I think that there's such a lack of purpose that this is where all these gurus are coming from. People are really, really lacking focus and purpose. In particular, men. I think there's been a lot of emphasis on ladies and on forgetting their more domesticated pasts and trying to get them to become more involved in the work world. And I think that there's a lot with that. But in that, I think that that a lot of men have lost their purpose, have lost their focus, have lost their drive, have lost what they should be and could be doing with their lives. And I think that this is really going to have some problematic situations that are coming up. There was an article about the predictions that if men don't get it together and they don't form families and things like that, it's going to crash the housing market for years to come. Housing market prices will crash by 30%. That's because men are important, despite the plethora of YouTube videos and social media videos are saying that men aren't important. We don't need men and all this kind of stuff, right? Well, when women are buying more houses, and men aren't, because men are more geared towards family formation, right? You give a man a job, he's going to get a wife and kids, right? That I don't think that that's necessarily the case with the ladies. They're not necessarily getting husbands. They may have children that they're putting into that, but they're not getting husbands. And so, you know, uh, the analysis is that this is going to crash the market within a few years, if not sooner. It's going to crash by market values by 30%. So for round numbers, you buy a house for $200,000. What's 30% off of that? 60,000. Now your house is worth 140,000 or so. So really got to think about that kind of thing. I hope my math is right. I'm not going to do the math about that. So anyway, so I think that there's a lot of focus that men need to have. And when we don't have that drive, when we don't have that focus, when we don't have that purpose, then I think that there's really problems that are going to be coming up within the future. And I think a lot of these gurus and a lot of these red pill men and a lot of this manosphere type of content is really geared towards men not knowing what to do. And I'm going to do some more videos about, I think one of the greatest failures of of men, particularly men of my generation, Generation X, has not been mentoring other people. I'll talk about that in another video. But I think that this is problematic, and now we've got these. Some of them are charlatans, and some of them are really trying to help people become the best version of themselves. I'd like to think that I'm in that latter camp. I'm really trying to help men become the best version of themselves. Really trying to figure out how men can really improve themselves and to become more palatable, more marketable, and more and just better men, better husbands, better fathers, better uncles, better brothers, better nephews, better cousins, better co-workers, better bosses, better teachers, better instructors as men. And I think that this is a really, really big problem. And we have to be able to figure this out as men, how we really figure out our purpose, how we figure out our focus, and how we get to the place where we need and we really want to get to. And so, and a lot of people, when you don't know what it is, when you don't know what your purpose is, then you can fall for anything. If the old saying, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. If you don't stand 10 toes down and you're not standing on business, then you're standing on shaky ground. You're standing on the sand, as another biblical reference would say. You're not building yourself, your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-efficacy, your love. You're not building these things on anything that is tangible that is going to last. You're building them on quicksand, and that quicksand is going to quickly let you down, and it's not going to help you become the best version of yourself. So figure out your purpose, figure out your focus, figure out what you need to be doing, and figure it out quickly. And take the time to meditate, take the time to ponder, take the time to think about where you want to be. Get a life coach, sit back and think, turn off the TV, and really think about what it's going to take for you to fulfill your dreams, your goals, your purpose. And a lot of us, some of the information out there is good. If you don't know how to deal with stocks, bonds, invest in gold and metal and silvers and precious things like that, how do we figure out how to do those things? Are they even necessary? Does everyone need to do that? Just figure out what you need to do. But don't let anybody else figure it out for you. And if you start going down a path, let me finish off with this. If you start going down a path, there's nothing wrong with rethinking, retooling, re-equipping, reevaluating where you're at and figuring out if this is the same place that you want to be going. Nothing wrong with doing that. Nothing wrong with doing that. I don't think that it's okay for people to jump in and out of jobs. I don't think that it's okay for people to, particularly if you don't have another job lined up, I don't think it's okay for people to jump in and out of relationships. I'm not in favor of that. I'm not in favor of that at all. I'm not in favor of I'm not in favor of that. I'm not in favor of jumping in and out of relationships. I'm not in favor of jumping in and out of jobs, particularly if the next job is going to be better, right? If your skill set allows you to every year to get a new job offer, okay, but I don't think you build up any tenure, resume, seniority, your 401k, you're constantly in a state of flux. I don't think that that's good mentally. I don't think that any of that is good. I think there's even some literature. Can't think of it off the top of my head. When I say literature, I mean academic literature that would support me. I don't think any of that is good. But so anyway, figure out your purpose, figure out your goals, set the goals, write them down, and then stick to them. So, and if you are a man out there, in particular man, male or female, but if you are a person out there, male in particular, that is really struggling with that, be careful of the content that you are consuming. Be careful of the content that you are consuming. Make sure that, and check out the lives of these people. Are they just saying things to say them? Are they just putting out videos to put them out? Or they really have some type of message behind them? Are they really trying to help you to advance? And here's another thing that I want to say this about therapy. Last point. I want to say this about therapy. I want to say, and I'll say this about focusing. I'll say this about any kind of red pill content. I'll say this about any type of thing that tries to get you to do a certain thing. You should not need them for the rest of your life. You graduate from college, you graduate from high school, you graduate with a license, certificate, program that is 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever it is. There is a point where you should not need to do that. And if you're in therapy, if you're going to a life coach for 10 years, that person is fleecing you. That person is fleecing you. I'll leave it up there. Much love and peace.